Oh, hello. My name's Natasha Nurse. I'm the owner and co-founder of Dressing Room A. I do a lot of things. I'm the lifestyle editor of Plus Model Magazine, the host of Our Voices on 90.3 WHBC. You can see all the things that I write and contribute on dressingroom8.com. At the end, of course, I'll include my website where it also will lead you to all my social media handles, all my press, all the things that I do. But ultimately, I'm in the business of coaching and consulting women entrepreneurs, women creatives to be innovative, to seek and maintain and create as much transformation as they want in their life. So that's why I'm really excited for the 7-day challenge that I created. It is all about self-love. So what I did is for 7 days, I picked a topic per day that has personally affected me in my self-love journey. And why? Because I'm a content creator, right? And that's what we do. We create content. And what's the best narrative to focus on other than myself? But what's ironic is that people are more alike than we'd like to admit. And so all of my subjects that I've picked for each day definitely has plagued and impacted women that I've coached, women that I'm working with, women that I'm friends with, right? Women in my life who are like, you know what? I struggle with this. This is something that is difficult for me. So I hope that for day 2, you're on board to talk all about prioritization and specifically making yourself your number one priority, because I know that is something that I've struggled with, right? For me, I would say the biggest issue I have found, even just like on one of the things that I deal with, just my physical journey, is I haven't prioritized my physical health over other things, and I felt the consequence of that. So, you know, now it's not a game. I have hypothyroidism, so a part of me being healthier and living as long as I want to live is by forcing myself to get up out of the chair and move my body. So that's just like one example. But today, I hope that you yourself can, if you haven't really thought about it, you can at least be honest with yourself and say, you know what? For my self-love journey, yeah, prioritization has been an issue for me, right? And so I have a couple of articles that I'm going to be talking about, and this is conversational, right? So I want you, if you have questions, if you have thoughts, put it in the comment section. If you are thinking about it and mull it over later and want to put it in, definitely do, but feel free to add to this conversation. So first article of choice that I'd like to bring up is by Lisa Firestone. She had an article in Psychology Today. It's called The Unselfish Act of Prioritizing Yourself. And so she mentions, I'm going to go over a couple of things that she mentions in the article. So what are some of the consequences of not prioritizing yourself? 1, when we feel depleted, we have nothing to give. This isn't a revelation. We know this, right? How can you give something that you don't have? You can't, right? Like that math doesn't make sense. So the problem of not taking care of yourself is that ultimately you harm those around you and those that you love, that you need to give to. So that's a big consequence. Second, we lose ourselves in the do mentality, which means, and I definitely relate to this as a person of Caribbean background, you know, as a Jamaican American and my Jamaican family, it's been clear to me that like you must work, you must do everything, right? You can't give up. Nobody cares if you're tired and sick, right? Like nobody cares about that. Not true. You care about that, right? You give a shit. If you're tired, you give a shit if you can't feel like it can go on. So you have to take care of yourself. Yes, you must do. Yes, you must produce. Yes, you must work. And you must be busy. But you can't be busy enough to love yourself. You can't be busy enough to care for yourself. All right? Like, it's not anti-Caribbean. It's literally just like in the self-love journey. It's a part of the process. Next, we can drain others when we don't get our own needs met. Absolutely, right? When we are constantly kind of running on empty, we start to impart that onto those around us. And what does that do? It's a vampire effect. It drains them, right? Whether we're talking about a work situation, whether we're talking about a family situation, it's not good stuff, man. So that's another huge consequence. Another, we fail to practice self-compassion. Yeah, because we're so busy, just do, right? Who gives a shit again? I mentioned this before. Who gives a shit about like yourself? You do. You've got to, right? Because why? You're your number one advocate. It is up to you to protect your happiness. It is up to you to protect how you're feeling. That's what self-love is about. We talked about on day 1, we talked a little bit about of the kind of consequence, what is self-love, all of those definitions. If you missed it, go on facebook.com/dr8fashion. You're on my Facebook page right now, so you can just kind of scroll down and see the first video. And I have also loaded it up on the website on the freebies page, so you can find it there when I share the link, and you can get caught up. But the process of self-love is a journey. It's not just a feeling. It's actionable things that you have to do every single day that are specific to you. That is why it's your journey. That's the beauty of this. You don't have to follow someone else's regimen. Yeah, you're listening to me. Yeah, we're having this conversation, but you yourself, I can't tell you what self-love is for you. You have to decide what that is for you. I will share what I need in this process. And when I start to think about prioritizing myself, what does that mean for me? And then you can then think about that and contemplate and say, well, you know, that's true. That's what I need too. Cool. People are more alike than we'd like to admit. So most likely, if I mention 4 things, probably 2 of them apply to you as well, right? That's kind of just how that math works. And then lastly, another thing she says is our stress hurts us and those close to us. So true. I would say hubby, my best friend, my husband, he knows all too well, right? When I'm stressed out, I'm not going to front load that onto my clients. Of course not. That's not professional. I'm not going to front load that onto my parents because they'd be like, who are you talking to, right? Like, we're all Jamaican. I can, sadly put that on my husband, and he's like, hey, get it together, right? And then I'm like, oh, my bad. I'm acting like a raging crazy person. So let me roll this party train back, right? But, it shouldn't even come to that, right? It shouldn't have to be me lashing out and, having, as Khalil likes to say, I have too many demon triggers where like, it's just like, and it's because I'm so absolved with trying to make sure that I do everything for everyone. But guess what? If I'm not centered, then everything I'm doing is going to be off balance, and it creates stress, anxiety, and the demon rages, right? And we all have the inner demon. Don't look at me like this chick is crazy. You know you have your demon triggers, and they don't need to come out. Your inner troll can stay in and sleep. She doesn't have to come out. She comes out because you're not taking care of her. And then she's like, all right, here we go. It's time to pop. What, right? And all of this madness. And it doesn't have to be that way. So that's also why we're having a week-long conversation, because like I said yesterday, I've never spent 7 straight days talking about self-love and self-care in relation to me. This is like such an awesome experience. I hope you're going to enjoy this, because for me, I'm feeling empowered. I'm feeling very thoughtful and conscientious about the things that I'm saying and the things that I'm doing. And you know what? It's making me feel like, you know what, Natasha, you are the most important person in your life. Because guess what? It's true. You're the most important person in your life. That will never change, ever. I don't care if you have children. I don't care if you have pets. I don't care if you have parents, siblings. It all begins here. We've got to feel like we're number one and everyone else comes after. Why? Because they're an extension of how dope you are. So that's kind of the mindset that should be happening already, if it isn't already in your head. If you're there, then soul sister, yes, queen. But if this is something you have to work on, something I'm working on, obviously that's the challenge. Let's do it together, right? So now let's get to the conversation. What does self-love, what does self-care look like for you? So for me, I'm going to go through a couple of things that I need to do when it comes to prioritizing myself. I have hypothyroidism. It means that my thyroid is operating inefficiently, right? She's just kind of slowing down, and she's like, you know what, chick? Not today. But sadly, I need her every day. So I have to take thyroid medication. Oh, okay. So I have a comment. So Constantinos wrote, I'm 25, and the thing that makes me feel bad about myself is not being financially free. I want to make a YouTube channel, but something is keeping me back. Can you give a tip for helping me to keep on? Let's see, to keep on. All right. Yeah. So I would say, and thank you for joining. I'm so excited that you're watching. The biggest thing about being a content creator is you have to have purpose, right? So if you're struggling with figuring out how to get started, it's because you haven't sat down with yourself to create the purpose for what you're doing, right? So for me, I'm a content creator who's creating content around women empowerment and girl empowerment because it was the biggest thing that was lacking in my childhood. It was the biggest thing that I didn't feel around me when I was being bullied, when I felt less than. All I would have given anything to is to tune into, say, like a video like this. So that's what is my drive, right? So if you're thinking about your YouTube channel, then you've got to figure out what is your purpose? Why are you doing what you're doing, right? And what is the message and the platform that you're trying to build? And then from that, if once you've defined your clear purpose, then you can go and you can break it out, right? So you can create a calendar for yourself. How many different times do I want to post? What are the images I'm going to use? How am I going to edit it? What musicality is going to be used? What credits? Am I bringing other people involved in this? Where am I filming it, right? Like you can get all into those logistical questions, but it all first comes down to the clear purpose. Do I understand what I want to say? What is my message? And then from there, you move on, right? So I hope that answers your question. And if you have additional questions, feel free to add them in the comments. Also, go to dressingroom8.com. After this, obviously, we're talking. And you can always schedule a time to speak with me. I do free consultations all day, every day. If anyone doesn't know me, my life motto is to meet someone new and learn something new every single day. So you guys, I've met a new person. So I've accomplished, check. Right? So thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to go back into what I was saying. So with my self-care and what I need to do to prioritize myself every day, I gotta take my thyroid medication. If I don't take my thyroid medication, I can't eat, right? I have to wait an hour to eat. So like that is an interesting way, I think, to start my day. I've been doing it for a couple months now, but you know what? It forces me to prioritize me before I can get the hubby's lunch, before I can think about social media for myself, for my clients, for this, right? I've got to say, hey, Tasha, if you want to eat, you've got to take your pill. So that's one thing. Another way that I prioritize myself is I like to read empowering things. The biggest reason I think why people get caught up in the negativity is they don't spend enough time focusing on positivity. Hearing it, reading it, watching it, writing it, living it, right? The more positive you are, the less room you have for bullshit, the less room you have for negativity. It's not rocket science, guys. It's just like a matter of just like, literally, if you're like a tech person, think like space, right? If your drive only has X amount of space, if you fill it up with positivity, you minimize the space for negativity. See how I did that? That's like really interesting. Khalil might come for me because he's like, you didn't describe it right. But just think about it in kind of proportionality or math, right? Like it's same thing. Also parents, right? When the biggest thing I've ever heard with parents is they say, oh, well, I kept my kids out of trouble by keeping them too busy, right? They were doing soccer, they were doing ballet, they were a part of the chess club, they were part of the dance club. They were so dang busy. They didn't have time to go and smoke weed on the street, right? They didn't have time to go and do all this garbage. And Constantinos, he's wrote, wow, I would like that. Just follow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So when you focus on positivity in the end, you just waste time again, though. I mean, I'm sorry that you feel that way. For me, that's something that fuels me, right? So like I said earlier, at the end of this, you've got to figure out what works for you. So for me, positivity is the alternative. I like what you said, I'm making a calendar. You were right. Okay. Gotcha. For me, positivity fuels me and it allows me to keep my inner negative naysayer at bay. And so that's my method. Some people I know are fueled by negativity. Do I think it ultimately makes them happy? No, but listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm not Yoda. I don't know everything. So at the end of the day, if someone is on that path and they think that that's working for them, cool. But what I will say is the most successful people in the world, whether you're talking about Damon John, whether you're talking about Tony Robbins, whether you're talking about Mark Zuckerberg, they never say, you know what, I was the most negative person and it just made me go so much further, right? Like no one says that. So if that's their hidden secret, if that's like their thing, then I guess I've missed it in books and I guess I've missed it in their messaging, but I haven't seen that. All right. And just other couple of things. I like to journal. That's something that keeps me grounded. And before I can take calls and all that stuff, you know what? That's what I need to do for me. So those are just examples of things that I'm doing. So now let's get to solutions, right? So if we're talking about how to prioritize yourself as number one, then what are my tips, right? That's what we're all here to discuss. For number one, right out of the gate, is accept that you're the most important person. If you don't accept that, then you will constantly fight this as an option instead of an actual statement of fact. And you will see that mixed messaging in the decisions you make and the type of life you're living, right? If you don't prioritize you, then what does it mean? You simply are prioritizing other people, other things, scenarios over you. And then you will bear the consequence of that action. There's consequences for doing and in action and inaction, right? So I suggest taking the affirmative. Accept that I'm the number one person in my life. And then that takes me to step two, which is set non-negotiable rules for myself, right? Meaning like Damon John as a great example. And I'm a big fan. We read Rise and Grind for the Dressing Room Mate book club. I'll include that in the link here at the comment section here at the end. He has a thing where he says he doesn't begin the day looking at social media. He begins the day, kind of creating his own method, but before he gets to emails, before he gets to social media, he's set out what he's going to do for the morning, right? Most successful people set the intention for the day with things that they want to do. They don't set the intention for others. That's how you succeed on the big, large scale. It's not running after other people. It's not running after likes and comments and things like that. It's essentially saying, okay, well, what is my intention for the day, right? And what do I need to do to achieve my goals? And then moving forward. And of course, your goals will include social media. If you're not living under a rock, it's a part of what you're doing, right? Of course, your goals will include checking email. It's a part of reality. It's the logistics of running your life. It's the logistics of running a business, right? And of course, you'll do fill in the blank. But again, is that the first thing you need to do? Is the first thing you need to do maybe is meditate? Maybe the first thing you need to do is go through a gratitude list. Maybe the first thing you need to do is, have a 5-minute chat with your spouse, right? And thank you, Khalil. Yeah, positivity requires action as well, though. I completely agree. It's not just the thinking and, I'm going to be a millionaire, and it just happens. You look in your bank account, you're like, oh, no, boom, boom. It requires action. You're absolutely right. It requires setting up the organization, joining networking groups, reading the books, learning your craft, setting up the YouTube channel, right? Like it absolutely, it's all about positive mindset and action towards the goal that you're trying to achieve. And then what do? You achieve the goal and you keep pushing the goals further as you grow in whatever venture or whatever you're doing or however you want to evolve. I'm loving this conversation, y'all. Listen. Step number 3, you want to set clear and define boundaries for yourself and for others. And so for me, I have found this to be very, very helpful for prioritizing myself because there have been people in my life who think that they can speak to people any different kind of way. Bullshit. Don't speak to me like you're crazy. Nope. Take that somewhere else. Also, people who want to, just kind of speak over you, like mansplaining, as it learned to me by various resources and media, that I love that term, right? You have to define, you are the teacher for the world as to how the world treats you and responds to you. It is your responsibility to put those rules out there. So when people are bullshitting you, you have to call them on that. That's how you set the boundaries. That's also how you be non-negotiable with yourself, right? Step 4 is do what makes you happy. Like really simply, it's a simple kind of like, oh yeah, Tasha, I get that. Yeah, but no, literally, because there are too many people I speak to who literally tell me they don't know what makes them happy. Truly disturbing. I could rattle off to you 10 things that make me happy. Shopping, puppies, kittens, elephants, coloring, reading, music. You don't need to know all my gems, right? Like, but pretty much you just found out all of who I am right there. Like, those are the things that I love, and those are the things that occupy my daily or weekly or monthly life. So if you want to have a life that you love, frickin' do things that you love on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on a quarterly basis, right? Like, it's really, again, not rocket science, but it's about practical application of these things. So if you say, hey, I love to read, and you read one book a year, obviously, boom, boom, you don't like to read because you're not reading. So you have to set aside. Everyone can read 15 minutes a day. Why? Because you spend more time in the bathroom. So read in the bathroom. There you go. You get your reading done. Oh, I like to color. Cool. Maybe begin the day with your coloring for 10 minutes. End the day with coloring. Figure out how to incorporate what you love and what you do. And maybe for you, what you love is your business. Maybe that, that's just kind of like what's fueling you. Maybe you're like a fitness instructor, and so like working out 3 times a day is like what you love. Cool, right? What you love doesn't always have to be a hobby. It can be your like career or your job. Great. But the point is, do it. And so stop complaining. Just live a life filled with things that you love. You got to decide what that is. And if you don't know, then explore. I'm so sick and tired of people telling me they don't know something. It's 2018. Cut the bullshit. Figure it out. Try something. I liked it. I didn't like it. It's, again, not so hard here. Next step, stop accepting a life that is less than what you want. There's too many, and this one actually, I'm not going to come for parents too hard, but kind of. I mean, I'm not a parent, but I hear especially from parents, too much. And it makes me sad because I want to be a parent. And I'm just like, no, it doesn't have to be this way. People tell me, oh, no, my life is, run by children, or no, you have to give up your dreams and goals for your children. If that's not what you want to do, then why are you doing it? Why not try to live your life and have your kids or have your responsibilities or whatever, fill in the blank, fit into that dream? Why are you succumbing to a circumstance and then trying to make your life fit into that? To me, that seems ass backwards. Figure out these, again, it's kind of like what I said to Constantinos. Set the intention for what you want and then fit everything into that. It doesn't make sense to set your terms of your life according to someone else or according to a circumstance, because guess what? That circumstance might change, but you are the common denominator everywhere you go, in every conversation you have in your life. So it means you have to decide this. Constantinos wrote, please, people don't believe in my intentions and goals. They think they are not tangible because I do not have results to show and money. Yeah, that's a really great point that you added there. Why? Because that's called, and it makes me depressed. I'm sorry to hear that. Again, I'm glad that you've joined this conversation, because a part of self-love is believing in yourself. And again, setting your intentions. It doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't matter what other people say. F them. Like, that's literally the kind of mindset I want you to be in, because there will always be a hater. There will always be a million people who will tell you you can't do something. A million people who tell you you shouldn't do something. If you want to do something, you do it. Whether you succeed or fail, again, those are all terms that you will have to define and set for yourself, but you can't allow other people's negativity, other people's questions of what you're doing to stop you. Do what you want to do, F them. Why? Because when you do what you want to do, and you quote unquote, have reached the success level that whatever you've set for yourself, then guess what? All of those haters are like, oh, I knew him back then, right? And they all have a lot of bullshit to talk about. So what is the classic phrase that you should think about in your head? The best revenge is success. And as Khalil wrote, John Paul DeJoura went from homeless to billionaire. Yeah, absolutely, right? There's so many cases of people who are like, oh my God, I couldn't do it. And, oh, he created Patreon. Okay, nice. Very nice. Yeah, there's so many people who went from bottom all the way up. Right? If that's why I say reading is important in life, and that's why I created the Dress to Roommate book club. Read Rise and Grind. You can read about success stories and challenges. You can read The Power of Broke by Damon John. Like, those are 2 really great books to kick you in your butt. If you're like, you know what, if you keep allowing haters to stand in your way, it's bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And you know it is. You absolutely know it is. So stop, right? Like, The tequila. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, I remember that. So don't let them get you down, man. Don't let the haters get you down. Do what you're going to do, because if not, you're going to regret it. And who wants to live a life of regret? It doesn't feel good, and it eats away at us. And what does that do? In turn, affect the decisions and the way that we interact with other people. Life is too short to be down that road. Keep it moving. Thanks for joining, everyone, and the amen. Thank you for all the comments. Let's keep it coming. Next tip is don't use those around you to set as an example for yourself for the rules you're setting in your life. I learned this by literally growing up and realizing just how disappointing some of the people in my life, whether it's my family, whether it's people professionally that I've met, and they win. Yeah, exactly, Tina. Ultimately, it is up to you to set the terms of your life. You cannot look at mom, you can't look at dad, you can't look at poppy, you can't look at auntie, you can't look at Diti, all these people, and if they're miserable, if they're unhappy, if they are sad, and say, well, that's the best that they could do, so, I should be okay with my sadness, I should be okay with my crickety knee. Listen. If you're unhappy with something, you're unhappy with it, and you deserve to feel happy. You deserve to feel empowered and loved and capable of doing whatever you want. Go out, make a change. If you don't know what the change is, Google it. How do I stop knee pain? How do I make $1 million? How do I start a YouTube channel? How do I become a content creator? How do I change my job? Right? It's all out there, guys. It's 2018. Please, if you take anything from this conversation, be resourceful. The more that you are hungry, the more that you are willing to go out and get what the hell you want. Listen. Thank you, Tina. I know, I'm like, yes, wait a minute. These are the conversations that give me life. This is the reason I do what I do. This is why I love entrepreneurship, because it allows me to sit here and create content, have you guys give me feedback, challenge me, accept it, right? And let's have a conversation. But I need this as much as you need this. I need this. So thank you for saying that, and thank you for being a part of this. Keep it moving, right? Next tip, let go of the past. And this is something I've really struggled with in my own self-love journey. Let go of your past. Maybe the last 30 years you sucked at something. For me, I'm 31 years old. I sucked at physical fitness for the majority of these 31 years old. But does it mean the next 31 years of my life is going to suck and I'm never going to be able to reach certain goals of my life? No, it does not mean that. Just because the past happened, just because this didn't go the way that you needed, doesn't mean tomorrow can't be better, guys. We've got to look at every single day as a new kind of beginning, a new blessing. It's a new day. If today sucked, doesn't mean tomorrow sucks. Absolutely not. It is up to you to decide what kind of day every day is going to be. So listen, keep moving forward. Again, if you've taken anything, keep moving forward. I want to cry. I'm just like telling you, it's hard right out here. It is hard. It is so hard sometimes to live the lives that we live. You have to keep moving forward. All right. Next tip, please pay attention to what's happening, right? We're doing things, we're saying things, we're spending time with people. If they make us feel shitty, stop it. If we're reading things and it's making us feel bad, stop it. But you've got to pay attention. Don't just be unconscious in your life. As you're reading, as you're interacting, as you're doing things, what's working, what's not working. Aw, Tina. Thank you. Yeah, I'm about to tear up because it's hard out here. Yeah, I mean, everything is hard. Nothing is easy. I don't care what we have to do. Peeing is hard sometimes, right? Everything in this life is hard. So I understand when you say you have a struggle. I understand that it's difficult, but you have to keep moving. You cannot stop. Just try. That's all I ask of you, right? You're by watching this, you have told me that you're ready for transformation. So all it means is keep moving forward, right? Just stay on the path that you want for yourself. So last minute words of wisdom, because we are going a little bit over, but that's okay, because I'm sure y'all are in it, right? You're like, yes, Tasha, let's do this. All right. So don't be afraid to say no. That's a big part of your self-love journey. When you don't want to do something, please don't do it. I'm tired of people saying I said yes, but I didn't want to. cut the crap, right? Next is you're responsible for teaching other people how to treat you. Don't let people speak to you any different kind of way. If you don't want to hear their negativity, tell them to shut the hell up. Get out of my face. It's real simple. I stopped talking to people that make me feel shitty, because it's you obviously are not changing, and you're clearly a hurt, broken person. Live your life and leave me the hell alone. Like, just stop, right? Cut the triggers out. That's what I talked about yesterday. Got to do it. That's a part of this journey. Next, every day is a new day. Please, please, please remember that. If you had a terrible day today, I'm sorry, and my heart weeps for you. But tomorrow, frickin' wake up with excitement. Frickin' wake up with hunger. I can do this. Today's going to be effing amazing, right? Just scream F if you have to. But try to have a new mindset every single day. You wake up, it's a blessing. It's a privilege. There are people who are dying out here who would wish for another breath. So never forget that. Every day you wake up is a frickin' privilege and an honor. And someone told me you can't argue with yourself. Yeah, exactly. Be honest with yourself, right? And wake up willing to do what you need to do. Next, don't sweat the small stuff. And this is something I've learned as I've gotten older, which has helped, right? Sometimes, I feel like when you're younger, you have a lot of energy. And sometimes you kind of use that energy in misplaced places. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to fight because I'm going to fight. Cut the crap. Right? If someone is saying something and they're very convicted with it and maybe you disagree, all right, let them go on their monologue. Let them live their life, right? Don't go and have arguments and, throw tables. Stop sweating the small stuff. It will create a sense of peace inside of you that is more valuable than you cussing out that other person. Don't sweat the small stuff. Next, I talked about this earlier. Who cares what other people think? Who cares what other people say? Who gives a shit? F them. Right? Like, F them. You gotta do you, man. My life, my journey. It is not up to me to explain it to you. It is not up to me to make you accept it or agree with it. I don't really give a shit. Right? Like, that's just where I'm at with that. So if you are riddled with people who are making you challenge yourself, and yeah, it is hard to say that, but the more that you do, even if you just do it in front of a mirror, Tina says I'm still learning that. That's hard. It is hard to tell people to F off, but the more that you do it, the more that you will enjoy it. Right not my job. Yeah, exactly. You have to be like so aggressive about protecting you. It's not even funny. Like you have to, that's a part of the self-love and the self journey, right? The self-care journey. So next is, it's okay to falter. It's okay to fall down. I think sometimes when we're working towards things, people feel like, oh, well, I'm trying this new venture and I can't fail and nothing can fail. Shit's gonna happen, right? Website might go down, things might not work. It's okay. It's okay, right? But just understand why it happened, how can I prevent it, and keep it moving. Stop bullshitting, stop obsessing, stop sweating it, right? Shit happens. Keep moving. Next is your goal and your voice always matters. So when it comes to your self-love journey and your self-care, you have to recognize it is never less important than anyone else in this world. You are the most important person you will ever know, you will ever love, you will ever have in your life. You. That's right. I'm talking about you. So please know this. Make good choices. That's my last words of wisdom. Make good choices. Choose to be happy. Happiness is a choice. When you choose to be angry, when you choose to be frustrated, when you choose to be sassy, guess what? You can also choose to be peaceful. You can also choose to be happy. You can also choose to be grateful. These are all choices. So make good choices. And please, ultimately, why did we talk about this today? Choose to prioritize yourself. So now, to understand the challenge, right, day 2, you've watched this, you've participated, you've made today amazing. Thank you so much for everything that you guys offered today. You warmed my heart. I really appreciate it. What do I need you to do? After you've watched this, please share it. Definitely share it. But then also, I want you to go and do your own live stream, right? So whether that's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. If you either do a live or post a video, whatever you feel comfortable most doing, it can be 10 seconds, it can be a minute, it can be an hour, whatever time frame you have to offer this, and talk about prioritizing yourself as a number one for your self-love journey. And if that's something that doesn't necessarily resonate with you today, and something else has been brought up based on this conversation, go ahead and do that. Talk about whatever that subject is, because I can't tell you what's on your heart right now. I can tell you what's on my heart, and I gave you that. And thank you for everyone who received it. You all are a blessing. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. All right. And then all I ask is you tag Dressing Roommate so that I can be a champion for you and I can cheer you on for what you're doing, and use the hashtag #myselflove. That's all I want, my self-love. All right, so I can go and I can search that, and I can be like, yes, sister, or yes, brother, because that's why I'm doing this. 7 days. It's not easy, right, to live every day, but I'm doing it because that I'm worth it. I know I'm worth it, and I know you're worth it, and I know that together we can love ourselves better. Together we can move forward in our self-love journey. So thank you for joining. Please go and do your live stream or go post a video, tag Dressing Roommate, use the hashtag #myselflove, and I will see you tomorrow. All right, so thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye.